So I have my master's degree in forensic psychology. I worked on federal human trafficking cases for a long time, and I've
Hello.
seen, yeah,
Whoa. It's nice to meet you.
it's nice to meet you too.
So I had Doug go to the post to hide your comment because I thought that maybe there would be a chance that they would see it, or that she would see it, and
Yeah,
therefore know that any information was coming from you. And we had talked about you being anonymous, and then she and someone else. Do you know who the account of the other person is?
I have no clue who that was. Obviously, they're like doing everything they can to protect her dad at this point.
They really are. It's very aggressive, which
Yeah,
which is interesting for a couple reasons. One, if you're above reproach, then there's you don't worry what
yeah,
like I mean, if I'm walking down the street and somebody yells out you're a pink elephant and I know I'm not a pink elephant, then I don't engage,
yeah,
right? So
exactly.
so interesting enough, right, it's the denials with the passion that's behind them
Yeah,
that is blowing this up. um
yeah,
it, Yeah. So my mind is spinning too because I, like you, have a certain history with this subject of
yeah,
abuse in relationships, not with
yeah.
my father, but with a partner.
Yeah, no, I didn't with my father either, but Bree opened up about it like when she was doing my hair. And
Right.
so,
And there was wordsmithing over whether she was washing your hair or like you had said that she was your stylist, right? And then she came back and said I just washed your hair.
yeah, no, so she was working for Monet, and like they would do these events all the time, like these and what kind of what was it was like a fundraising events and stuff. But like do you want to come over here or do you want to sit right there?
Limousine. It was kind of like a
What's Monet?
Monet is this like these like hair and skin products, and
Okay.
they would like take over salons and like wash people's
kind of
hair.
trade show, but
It wasn't.
without being a trade show. It's like, hey, this is the product and how we use it and the way that we can benefit you. So it was like you still paid for it, but
Okay. But like
the
But
company
a pop-up
that
event kind of thing.
yeah, that's probably the better word is a pop
oh,
up.
she like washed my hair. She like did a blowout and stuff, and that's when we like had this whole discussion.
That's when she was 2023 is when she was kind of coming out about this stuff, right? I mean, and
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure when her brother's letter was written to the ministry that quote unquote that Victor was doing.
Like she was living in San Diego because
Skirts of San Diego, California area.
and this is Anton. All of a sudden
Anton.
Wow.
she left Monet, which is an MLM, and she joined another MLM. I can't remember what it was. And now she's with some kind of coffee MLM.
Oh, multi-level marketing. Just an observation. I don't know what her education background was. Not that it matters.
Mhm.
Some brilliant people have not even finished high school, like so that doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
in specific, I'm thinking specifically in terms of what training she has had, that there's probably a skill set in terms of sales and presentation that she's
Yeah.
Yeah.
up from her father, right?
I really like the products from Monet and stuff. That's another reason why we got along so
Her before,
well.
was this the first time you met her?
Yes, that was the first time I met her. I met her through my friend Tony Duggan, who's like really high up in Monet.
And this is 2023, sometime before you went to Egypt.
Yes,
Um, and when did you go to Egypt?
in October of 2023.
Were you in the service?
Oh, he is.
Oh,
Damn.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked for the government for a long time now, but like I'm having really serious health issues following a car accident in 2024. So I haven't worked since almost a year ago.
I'm so sorry to hear that. It's incredible how we can take our health for granted. And
Yeah, no, I definitely did for the longest
is
time.
that
Mhm.
correct? You were at this event as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just came in to support and drive her there.
But I couldn't remember if you were standing there when she was telling me all this stuff or like if
Not
I had.
near the end. Not until the end, near when your blowout was almost done. You said that you guys had a conversation. You guys were like getting to know each other and life stories and all.
And like how she had opened up to me
Mhm.
about her dad and stuff. I have nothing to gain from coming out and saying this. It's just like really fucking bizarre to me that she's like trying to protect her dad and she knows what she told me. Like, I honestly have nothing to gain at all.
No, I mean, why would you? As a matter of fact, just in commenting alone, like they came at you, right? Like,
Yeah, and they like called these claimed that like I practice witchcraft and stuff.
what's interesting is that in the comments, somebody said that Bree's mother practiced witchcraft.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay, is this just going to be a trend of? I mean, I know people who've claimed to be witches. It didn't mean they were liars.
Witchcraft, and then they claim that we're swingers. No, we're polyamorous, but
Anton, are you aware this is being recorded right now?
Yes.
I will ask at the end, like, if you would be up for letting this be aired, but don't, as of this point, nothing is. Okay, you hear me on that?
I do, yes.
yeah, polyamory is like we're open to having like more like deep romantic connections with people. It doesn't have to be sexual. Like it just depends because like everyone's different. There's people who are like asexual, which means that you're not like you don't physically like want to do stuff with other
Right.
people, but you want to have an emotional connection.
So one is more of a emotional friendship, long-lasting bond that you build either with physical connection or it doesn't have to be or it's just straight platonic where the other one is hey this is all we're looking for and that's it.
And again, completely irrelevant as to if someone tells the truth or not.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I would argue that somebody in polygamous relationships or in that mindset, the honesty and the communication is core.
Yeah, exactly. I worked on federal human trafficking cases for a long time and I've
Hello.
seen, yeah.
Whoa. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but whoa.
Yeah, no, I worked on federal human trafficking cases. I saw a lot of stuff. And then I went through a really bad divorce with my ex-husband. And like, it wasn't like physically abusive or anything. It was like more like narcissism, like mental abuse.
Yeah.
Bree specifically opened up, well, going back to me working on federal human trafficking cases, I've been working in the mental health field for over 10 years now. And Bree specifically opened up about how her dad has bipolar disorder. And like basically, I think I remember her saying that like he didn't believe in taking medication for it.
I've heard
Yes,
him
he,
say that he was like
yeah.
delivered for
Yeah,
which is
exactly. She just really bad things kept happening. Like I could only get through a few minutes of Bree's dad because it was really awful.
I tell you, so many people commented they couldn't watch it. You know, if you had parents that fought, I mean, the way they were arguing at points, was would be very triggering for people.
Hmm.
Anybody who's experienced any kind of bullying or narcissistic abuse or spiritual.
Exactly.
So you had experienced narcissistic abuse, and how long were you married?
Well, I was with him for like 12
It
years.
would take a really long time to get healing from that, and I'm sure
Yeah.
Anton was a significant part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Bree like went through something like she went through a really bad divorce too. We were
And she,
bonding over that. Her dad like did not approve of her divorce and he was also really angry about that. That's all I really know.
I
Yes.
heard her say something or read it or whatever that she went through a season of being ostracized. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, she had nothing to do with her family. Like when we had met her and we were talking to her and stuff, she had nothing to do with any of her family.
did
All she kept saying like how they were just terrible people and stuff. And she literally did claim to be like a feminist and like we were like we bonded over that because I'm a huge feminist. And now she's coming in your comments saying that she was never a feminist. I'm like, yes, you were. You were like taking your power back, and now all of a sudden she's not.
it seems like there is this liberal label associated with feminism,
It's
like
standing up for yourself, standing up for your rights. For me, feminism is like holding on to your power, not letting people take your power away from you. And that's what she was doing. So she was a feminist.
just equal rights, equal pay.
Yeah. And she was trying to, like, by joining all of these different MLMs, she was trying to, like, build a lot or get a lot of money. So that is being a feminist.
I presume it was for independence,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
To be able to stand on her own 2 feet without
Relying
either
on her dad
or
or her
any support. Yeah,
husband or anybody.
trying to regain her life in the best way that she knew how.
Right. Her brother posted a GoFundMe, or one of the fundraising platforms. He actually appeared to have done that twice, and one of them indicated that it was for her. And does she have daughters?
Yeah, she does have daughters. Hmm.
It's something that communicated be able to live their lives, have autonomy, to
Exactly.
empower her, to give her that freedom.
I'll
That
drive again.
Yeah, yeah. Now there are she has four brothers and sisters, is that right?
I believe so, but this when I had met her and stuff, she never talked about her family at all. I like she wasn't connected with them.
Yeah, did she sound like that was her decision or they were cutting her off?
It was more her just.
I feel like it was more her decision. That's why I keep claiming that she was a feminist because she was doing the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just the whole when you feel so powerless, um, anybody, I'm not saying necessarily this was her experience, but anybody that has been raised in a situation, Victor himself, because clearly he's overcompensating for
Yeah,
being powerless, right?
yeah.
And I actually, just before we got on here, replied to Bree's comment.
Was it a comment about her getting paid like $15,000 or
That I
something?
did because she said in response to Candace, and this is the thing, if they would just be quiet. I mean, it's not like I want to give anybody tips, but like with Erica Kirk or what, like she could have just said, "Yeah, I want to be CEO," and then gone and lived her life. So Bree comes out and says, I didn't receive a dollar. My dad never gave me a dollar.
But then you can look up the records and
Yeah.
there's
As as a consultant, I mean, in your conversation, was there anything that indicated she would have any ability to speak into politics?
no, I never like I didn't even know who her dad was or anything at the time. And then all of a sudden, she started posting about him, and I was like, "This is weird."
Well, you're far from alone because she spoke, she was very public, even on social media. She said that, her uncle had her back when her father didn't. There's a message that the uncle sent that's confrontative. Was there any indication that this letter that the son sent to the board of his quote unquote ministry, calling him out and requesting compensation for his sister, financial compensation,
Mhm.
that had been, did she mention that at all?
I mean, it sounds familiar, but I honestly I don't remember anything like that was mentioned of a letter.
What part feels familiar, so to speak?
The financial compensation.
That she was seeking that in some capacity?
Yes.
Did she say through what means if they weren't having communication?
No, she didn't elaborate on that.
But if she made it clear she wasn't in contact with them, it would have to be through somebody else. It says meeting 40 minutes. When afterwards, when you were sharing this with Anton, like, what impacted you the most? What was your
I
take?
just remember when we were leaving in the car, I was telling Anton like how like how like she's gone through so much with her dad and stuff, like with like mental health issues and not like believing that he needed medication and stuff, and that like I could tell that her and I would be like really good friends and keep in contact. And
Which you did.
yeah, we did, but it's now she's claiming that we didn't. So
Oh, does she say that you did?
she mentions it that we like didn't really keep in contact, but we did.
And she said she blocked you. She said you reached out last week.
Yeah, so I reached out to her. I was like, "What is going on with you?" These people that like could claim that are like super Christian and stuff, and then they claim that they can be delivered from
Yeah,
their mental health issues. Bipolar never goes away.
exactly. It bipolar requires medication.
It does.
It is
That's
extreme.
why you see him have so many manic episodes.
Yep. Yeah, and it's
But Bree even told me that, like, way before I even knew who he was, that he's severely bipolar and that he didn't believe in taking medication.
I am bipolar 2. I'm
Mhm.
bipolar 2. Wasn't diagnosed until I was 50. For years, they thought, oh, this is just depression or ADD, which there is now.
Okay.
Now, when you're given antidepressants for bipolar, it doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't
And,
help at all.
and the catch 22 is that those medications have other side effects.
Hmm.
One of them that I was on, called Effexor, can trigger anger issues.
Okay, yeah.
So my kids, or people in my life, would experience my anger outbursts, but this Effexor, it was a catch 22 because it didn't seem like it was working, so they raised the dosage.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it didn't seem like it was working. They raised it at least 3 times.
Hmm.
Um and so I know this stuff, and for someone who's bipolar, the only judgment or condemnation you can have toward them is if they don't get help when it
Yeah.
is affecting so many people. So if he was diagnosed as that, to be so uneducated, ignorant, like to think. I mean, it would be like a diabetic saying, I don't have diabetes anymore.
But that's a pretty common thing in looser evangelical circles is that it's your faith in God, not medicine, that
Yeah, it
heals
is.
you.
But so that's why I use the comparison.
It's delusional, is what it is. My dad was a very famous Christian psychiatrist, and he would tell you that you would need medication.
I'm going to do a quick kind of recap, okay?
Okay.
I'm so frustrated that we
Oh, I
lost on
know.
that.
It's
I'm
very
so sorry.
frustrating. No, you're holding it together very well.
Okay. Yeah, you should have seen me before medication. You know what? Doug and I went to the beach last night, and it was like 9 or 10 o'clock, and I can go days without leaving our apartment. Like
Yeah.
because I like our space. There's projects I want to do. There's work I want to do in regard to this. There's endless rabbit holes and research. But so spontaneously, about 8:30, I'm like, let's go down to the beach. And it's only like 15 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And sometimes I forget that. So we went down and ended up losing my phone on the beach.
Oh my
But
God.
we didn't realize it was at the beach till we got back to the car, which is only about a 15-minute walk from parking. But neither one of us lost it. Like I would have burst into tears years ago. I mean, it would have just been all this emotional expenditure on something that I had no control of.
Yeah.
So we finally were like, oh, we'll just use the find the phone, find your phone thing. There are these pillars in life. Like for me, it's like when I was drinking versus being sober. I actually couldn't acknowledge the issues I had with drinking until my mind was on a level playing field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't that long after finally being diagnosed correctly by a 70-year-old man in a Mr. Rogers looking office. I mean, in terms of dating, like it was, I think everything in there was from 1960s and had not been touched.
Oh my
And I
God.
literally walked in and went, oh, and it was like the ageism, that I felt. I mean, it was convicting in hindsight. But he nailed it. He asked me a few questions and nailed it. Try this medication. If you happen to be listening, it's called Lamictal. Is that
Lamictal.
is it?
Mhm.
Boom, game changer. Boom, game changer. And all of a sudden, like I could see more of like the role that I played in things that went off the rails instead of
Mhm.
everything being everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
Even in seeking healing with my kids, um, there was a daughter that said, "Wow, we've talked about this before, but now you seem to be able to hear me, and you're not being defensive." But that led to me realizing that anytime I drank, it usually involved self medicating or escapism, or
Yeah.
just wanting to share that because people have shame in their stories. And Victor is a shamer,
Yeah.
shames. And we see that because his sister accuses him of something, and he gets on there and says, my sister had a fiance who killed himself. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
So I have my master's degree in forensic psychology. I was gonna get my PhD, but then I got hired on as a clinician. We directly worked with San Francisco, like police. We worked with a bunch of different private investigators, Freedom House,
Okay.
but they're no longer a thing, unfortunately.
So you have your master's.
Yes.
You're not just some disgruntled friend
No,
or
definitely
former
not.
friend. Would you have considered yourself friends?
Definitely. Like I wouldn't have like been so shocked by her like unfriending me, and then like all of a sudden being best close with her dad again. Like I was genuinely shocked. She had me blocked for the longest time. She had to have. And then now all of a sudden she's showing up on Instagram again. I found it weird, even though like she's claiming that they became close back in 2025. But I noticed like all this, like she was posting all this Charlie Kirk stuff, and then she was posting all these pictures with how much she like loved her dad and stuff. So I was like, what is going on? And then I was blocked.
Had she mentioned Charlie Kirk before or turning?
No, I didn't know anything. I didn't even know that her dad had anything to do with them.
Yeah, now we did find one audio. It was was there a video to that as well?
Oh, I didn't look, but
Okay.
it was a podcast or something.
So Victor was on Charlie Kirk's podcast. Could you look up when that was? He did say in his introduction that he was a spiritual mentor to him. So I think I commented on somebody's Instagram comment that there was no evidence that I could find that he was actually a mentor. Again, it's one of those things. If somebody lies or exaggerates so consistently, you question everything. And I couldn't find anything. And then finally we did. I mean, we kept digging. Integrity matters. I,
Yeah.
I
I don't know. It just feels like, or it seems like there's just a lot of fraud going on because nothing is adding up. Like, supposedly, you're not you, but he was a pastor, and then he's not
right.
actually a pastor.
And it was not a mistake. That is not a mistake you made. That he or his team that he talks about would make. He said they rescued 45,000, referring to himself as a pastor, which you don't take lightly.
No.
There's also so many contradictions on his DD two
2214.
2214 that I won't take time up going here because I found some other things. So just specifically, can you say what specifically she said he did that was abusive?
I don't want to go into like specifically what she said, but it was really, really bad.
So bad is kind of relative, no pun intended. We're not talking sexual abuse.
No, there's no sexual abuse.
That needs to be made really clear because that our minds tend to go there. I have heard other allegations of beatings. I'm not asking you to confirm or deny. The narcissistic abuse, I think, is evident.
Yeah.
Those patterns are there from your experience, from my experience, from what the books would say. She's too close right now to even be able to recognize that. You know, when you talk to
Yeah.
victims, you can't, if somebody's in that, they're not going to be able to, oh, yeah, you're right. You did mention to me that he would be in prison.
I mean, anyone would be if you could prove this abuse, or like if the cops were called, you would be put in jail for it.
For how long?
With all these white men being
Oh,
protected,
yeah.
like we don't know.
All right, let's say if he were a black man.
Oh, he would be in prison for a long fucking time.
In the military, he gives this account himself where he got in trouble. There's some indication that it was temper violence.
Yeah, and something about brig time too, which is really big.
Which apparently he didn't get. He was able to do this kind of um, repentant. I'm sorry. You're right. What I did was wrong, and he was just
That's not how I worked for the DoD for the last 2 years in inpatient mental health with active duty. That's not how that works.
okay. So because his story is that he was confined to barracks and didn't do brig time, but he was court-martialed. From what I understand, I will fact check all that. I
Mhm.
I understand just as Victor, it was vile him. So I understand not going into the specifics. It's significant that with your experience and your accreditation that
She would make that evaluation.
the evaluation, like even in a professional, you can say in a professional capacity,
Hmm.
that it would warrant jail time.
Yes, it definitely would, but with what's going, as I said, with what's going on, like all of these white, toxic, dangerous men are all being protected. And like nothing bad is happening to these guys when they should be in jail.
There's no justice. There's no justice. Somebody actually commented, with as bad as things are in Colorado, he's better than the alternative. And
What's the alternative?
I don't know, a Satan? What would be worse? What would be worse? I don't know. You're amazing. I appreciate you reaching out. Was that a yes?
Yes, it is.
But thank you.
No, thank
We're
you.
tired of the gaslighting. We are tired of the gaslighting and the lies. And this isn't encouraging people to come forward in any capacity. This is not helping victims at all. I'm going to ask you if I can share the video.
Yes.
Yay! So glad.